My presentation will be slightly more technical than what we've heard so far, but I think it's 100% related to everything you've heard. It's only the beginning of the morning, but it's the beginning of the morning. And I think the real challenge is how do we stay one step ahead in front of all the cyber attack and the cyber challenges that we have, and what do we need to do differently, both in our mindset and also from our technology to stay ahead. So I think the challenge of cybersecurity, we all know better over here. We can see some statistics. We can see some statistics here. In 2015, there's been almost 40% growth in cyber incidents compared to 2014, and that grows in a very, very high rate every single year. We all know that also cybersecurity is becoming a major discussion everywhere here. And we are hearing that it's the highest level of government, and here it's a survey by the New York Stock Exchange saying that 80% of board members say that cybersecurity is discussed at nearly every board meeting. Yet only 2/3 of them felt confident about their cybersecurity defense, and felt not confident. And these 2/3 that didn't feel confident about their ability to defend themselves are the smart ones. The 1/3 that felt confident are the ones that don't necessarily understand what the issue. And the question is, why is that different? And also, how do we change that? And the main reason is because fighting against cyber threats is very, very different than fighting against traditional or conventional threats that we're dealing with every day. And when I'm talking about fighting against threats, it can be nation-sponsored and threats to our nation. And it can also be the typical crime that happens every day. This is also a cyber threat, and we need to fight against all of them. So let's start with a simple example. I went recently to a visit in a bank, not a huge bank, but still a sizable bank, and they deal with security very effectively, and they deal with it. We all know that crimes against banks is one of the oldest forms against banks. Robbing banks has been invented many, many years ago. So if you look at conventional crime, it still exists. This bank suffers approximately 2-3 times a year from a robbery attempt at one of their branches. What's the potential damage? Approximately $10,000, because they don't keep more than $5,000 in cash accessible at each branch office. So that's the damage, and we all know that, by the way, dealing with it is a big issue, and the banks, in many cases, employ security guards on every branch and so on. And yet we see that the volume and the scale is very small. That same bank has a cybersecurity room that is trying to detect and prevent cyber crimes. People trying to steal from bank accounts mainly through the internet. They deal with approximately 20-30 attempts per hour. Just you can compare the volume. And it's hard to know what's the exact damage, but what they estimate from attempts that they're actually catching and understand exactly, it's over $50 million a year just in that alone. And this is, again, we're not talking about mega crimes or things that this bank is actually very good at, they are prepared for if somebody ever conducts a massive crime. This is small crime when somebody is trying to steal few $1,000s from a bank account to go below the radar, not a massive attack like we've seen when hundreds of millions of dollars were stolen in one attack. So what's the difference, and why there's such a big difference? So if we look at all our thinking, and I'm not an expert in conventional defense, I hope that I'm an expert on cyber, but let me try to apply my knowledge to conventional attacks. So in the conventional warfare, our boundaries are very clear. We know who's our enemy, just like we heard from General Petraeus. We know who to spy, we collect intelligence, and we know who our enemies, we know what's our territory, and we can try and defend that. In cyber attacks, attacks are coming from all over the world. The attack is not necessarily coming from somebody that we know or somebody that has something against us. It may be a criminal group trying to scan the internet and to find vulnerable points. We don't know where they sit. Their servers are located all over the world. And they are scanning the world. It may be a nation-sponsored attack, but again, it looks exactly like the same attack that's done by a criminal group or by hacktivists or by a kid in New Jersey that's really, really smart and using all the right tools to do that. And what do we know about the attackers? Again, In the conventional attack, we know who's the attacker, we know where they are, we know where they come from, and we can try and collect intelligence on them. Cyberspace, we have very little knowledge of the attackers and their motives. Sometimes we have, but very little. And the result is that cyber attacks occur anywhere. They can be done to anyone and by anyone at any time, 24/7. And maybe one of the biggest differences, if you look at conventional warfare, the real powerful weapons and the real strategic weapons are only at the hands of very few big nations. Our terrorists cannot afford having airplanes, not to mention various other sophisticated types of weapons. In cyberspace, and you know, if you look at the typical bank robbery, the most damaging tool that they have is a gun. They don't have anything beyond that can damage us. If you look at cyberspace, that's exactly the opposite. The CIA or the NSA or some other agency around the world may develop very, very damaging tools. They keep them for a certain time. At one time, these tools get discovered. And once these tools get discovered, every criminal organization in the world and every kid in New Jersey can get hold of these tools. And we saw a few examples of that. Few weeks after a new attack has been discovered, this attack is available to the entire world. So basically, the strategic weapons are available to almost every person that wants, or every organization is willing to invest in that. And the investment, by the way, we're talking about, it can be measured in days of work or hours of work. It's not an investment of millions of dollars. It's investments of a few $100s at the most to get the most damaging tools. And the result is that we're all vulnerable. And really that, I hear a lot of people say, I'm not a target for an attack. Based on our experience, we are all targets for the attack, because the way the attackers work is they scan the network, they find the weak spots, and these points they'll use to create the attack. So if you're a weak spot, you will be a target. If you're not a weak spot, you won't be. And again, because it's that simple to scan the network and to find the places. So even if an attack is super targeted and they want to access somebody that's very specific, they'll scan this sector. If some place is hard to get to, they'll go to the next one, and next to that person, they'll find the attack that's happening. I can give you one small example of an attack that we've recently uncovered about Iran trying to attack many government officials, journalists in the Middle East, in their neighboring countries, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and other countries. And they didn't even try to attack the organizations. They only tried to access the private emails, the Yahoo, the Gmail addresses of key people that were on their target list. And again, the ones that were protected, they skipped to the next one. The ones that weren't protected, they got the protection and they were spied on. So how can we stay protected, and what should we do differently? So if in conventional protection, we rely mainly on detection. We collect intelligence, we have security cameras, we have alarm system, and when the alarm goes on, we think that the criminal or the attacker will run away. And what happens if they don't? If they don't, we are there, we catch them, or in the cases of countries, we retaliate, and that creates the deterrence. That criminals or attackers will be afraid to attack us. What happens in cyberspace? Detection. Detection, first, it's not that easy. Many of the new attacks are very, very evasive, and people can stay in our system and can attack us for months and sometimes years. The average statistics, by the way, for a sophisticated target attack called APT in the last few years, it's been inside the target for more than 9 months until it got discovered. So it's very hard to find them. If we do find them, can we punish the people who've done that? Not really. There's no one to fight back. We can't track that. Our legal system is not sophisticated enough to do multi-border tracking and arrest and so on. And if we're talking about deterrence, there's no one we can really discourage. The attacker really doesn't care. As long as they are not being blocked, they will be in your system, and they don't care if you see them or don't, or if the alarm goes on or if the alarm doesn't go on. They are there. And that's the big difference. And the point is here that we cannot fight cyber attacks with the conventional tactics. and we cannot rely on detection. Detection is the main tool that we use today in conventional warfare. We detect the enemy, and then we send someone to fight back. And here we can't fight back, and sometimes we cannot detect it. Why is that? Why detection is not enough? First, let's speak about the speeds. Detection is usually happening when the malware is already inside. And that means the damage is done. The information that somebody wants to steal with us is already out. So if we catch it 9 months later, that means that our entire databases are in the hands of the attacker. And we've seen that in all the famous attacks on government. I mean, we heard the statistics here. $1 trillion intellectual property stolen, things like that we just heard this morning. But more important is what's the speed. In conventional, if we catch a spy, it's a single individual, they work slowly, we can catch them, and then we had one target, we caught one criminal, that's okay. In cyberspace, the speed of the damage is growing in the speed of cyber. There can be thousands of agents, it's not one agent, this agent replicates itself inside the network, and within hours there can be hundreds of them. And the data is going out very fast, so we cannot react in the speed of humans. We need to react in the speed of cyber. And the cost of the remediation here is extremely high and very, very difficult to find and trace all the damage. And yet, we went to a recent trade show in the security space. We found that 80% of the companies that present and the technologies presented them focused on detection alone. Only 20% had some elements of prevention of the attacks, where detection is simply not alone. And what we're trying to do in Checkpoint, and what I'm trying to preach, is that first, there is a different approach, and we can prevent the attacks. We need to do certain things, and at least for Checkpoint, our mission is to help our customers stay one step ahead and deal with the attack. So the principles are fairly simple. First, we need to focus all our energy on blocking the attacks before they happen. So instead of saying we want to detect and we want to know and we want to prioritize, we need to focus the energy on blocking the attacks before they happen. And I see a lot of the government activity here in the US. It's very, very impressive, the scale and the intelligence and the wisdom that people have. Yet the focus today is still on the stage 0, which is understanding, and far from being where we need to be, which is blocking the attacks before they happen. We need to defend with the most advanced tools, but not the tools that just stop today's attack or yesterday's attack. By the way, we still need to stop them. The malware and the viruses that are well known and been discovered 15 years ago, if we don't protect against them, they'll start attacking us again. So it's not that the past attacks are not important anymore, they're still important, but we also need to deal with the things that are unknown because we need to block them before they enter. And very, very important, we need to protect every frontier, and I'll talk about it in a second. It's not just our personal computer or our network or network firewall. And that's the main challenge. How do we block the attack before they happen? So I won't turn this one into a commercial presentation or a product presentation, but I just want to give one or two examples about things we're doing in Checkpoint and how sophisticated it is. For example, we have a recent technology that prevents and blocks the attacks. The name of that technology is called Sandblast. That's used not just for the attacks that are known, that's used for the unknown attacks. Sandblast takes files and analyzes them and cleans them and tries to find out the malware before it's known. What's called the 0 day, before the malware gets known to the world. Inside that technology, we have more than 27 advanced threat technologies that are used to prevent different types of behavior by the malicious attacker. And that keeps growing every month. Every month we probably add another method of detecting a suspicious behavior or malicious behavior so we can actually stop it. So this is one good example. But here is a more interesting one. How many people here have a mobile phone, a smartphone? Okay, everyone. How many of you have a security software that protects that mobile device? Nice percent here, 5 to 10% of the people. That's high, by the way, compared to audiences that I'm speaking to. Mobile threats, I think, are the new vector of attack that we will all suffer from, and that's our weakest link today. We carry the cell phones every day. They see everything we see. They hear everything we hear. Every piece of data, every piece that goes through us, even if we are not connected, by the way, to our classified network or to our business network, they still hear and see everything they do. They are connected to the network. They submit data all the time, and nobody monitors them. And yes, we like to believe that they are secure, but unfortunately, we find new vulnerabilities in these devices, both Android and iOS, every day. And yet, we are waiting until the big attack to start protecting them. And this attack will come one day. So I think it's very, very important also to deal with technologies for mobile threat prevention, to deal with our phones so we keep our data secure. And last and not least, we need to act very, very fast. And here's an example of the way we'll do it. We call it Threat Cloud. We collect real-time intelligence from all the known sources, like General Petraeus described, from open sources, from research companies that provide research, and from more than 50,000 gateways, that's our customers, that feed us with new data. And the second that the customer sees a new attack, we're getting informed, and a few seconds later, every customer in the world has access to the same information. Not just access, every customer will block the attack. So once the attack is discovered once, we can block it all over the world in a matter of seconds. And because that's the speed that's required on the internet, and that's the collaboration that's required here. We don't have days and weeks and months to wait until we disseminate the information and we act upon it. Just as an example, we had about 100,000 new malicious websites, URLs to our databases every day, and about 600,000 file signatures that we find that we need to detect, that we find malicious every day. And again, this is not necessarily new types of attack. Maybe the same type of attack, but it's what's called the polymorphic attack. It's an attack that changes its shape every time and with every file that's being sent. So this is the challenges that we need to face here. And last and not least is how do we protect every frontier. So again, if we look at the challenges that we had in the past was fairly simple. We had the network, and we've grown Check Point on being the firewall company. We protect the network, but have grown to a very, very sophisticated system with dozens of different technologies to defend the network, far from what the firewall used to be 20 years ago. And we had the endpoint software, the typical antivirus, and today, more sophisticated endpoint technology. That was yesterday, and we still need to do that. But if you look today, where is our data? Today our data is on the cloud. It's in the virtualized data center that doesn't behave like a traditional network with clear borders, and it's on our mobile devices, and we need to defend all of them. And if we look about the challenges of tomorrow, and the tomorrow is here, the tomorrow is not that far out, we're looking at the Internet of Things, we're looking at the critical infrastructure that's all based on IP networks and all based, and it's all connected, and we're looking at larger scale national security. Let's say that we now have a big attack on the US government or on any government in the world or an ADH agency. How do we actually defend against it? How do we turn that attack into an active defense of the attack? And that's not easy to do today. Today we can know that we're under attack, and yet we cannot start calling on the phone 100,000 organizations in the US and tell them you're under attack, do something about it. So we need a system that, like our police and army and all the agencies that we have in the conventional world, that will become the cyber soldier to our world. So we need to have that, and we need to have the unified view so we can apply the same defenses, multi-vectors, all over all these constituents, all over these areas, on every frontier that is connecting us. So to summarize, if we think about what we've done in the past and what we should do in the new world today, if in the past cyber attacks, the attackers were, generally speaking, amateur random attacks, today we know that the cyber attacks are organized and are targeting all of us. They can come from a foreign government, they can come from a criminal organization, they can come from activists, and they can come with same kids that are playing around that can cause as big damages as a foreign government today. The vectors of attack used to be network and endpoint. Today it's everything: network, endpoint, mobile, data center, cloud. I don't even mention here the IoT, which is the Internet of Things, every device that's being connected. If our strategy in the past used to be reactive, we heard about new type of attack, we install a new type of system, we detect a lot of things, and companies today have 60 different security systems, most of them are detection systems with dozens of consoles. That's not the way you can run a strategy or do that. So in the future, today, we need to think proactively, and we need to think about an holistic approach, about a security strategy that's focused not on detection, but focused on prevention. And if our architecture on the past relies on point solutions and multiple consoles, today we need to think about building one system, single way to operate it, just like we have our defenses today, when we have a single room that can control all our defense system and protect them. So that's where we need to be prepared, and that's what we need to do. That's what we're working also in Checkpoint. That's 100% of what we're doing. And I hope that this thought resonates also with the audience here, taking each one to your agency or company or whatever organization that you try to help protect. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.